Welcome back to the Auto Squabble podcast, man. It's your
Boop, boop,
boy Lil
boop.
Derek. We got
Boop, boop,
Liz,
boop.
we got Reed, and we diving in on part two of our post Royal Rumble show. We got to talk about Bayley, man. We got to talk
Yup.
about Bayley getting it done. All three of us agreed Bayley was the one that should have won. That was our prediction. I know we had some Becky in there. I said Liv Morgan maybe, who made it to the final three. Didn't
Yup.
expect Jade Cargill to make it to the final three, but the women's Royal Rumble to me was fantastic. To
Oh
me,
yeah.
it was the better Royal
Insane.
Rumble that night, in my opinion, personally. So many big moments like Jordan Grace being in there and just putting on a fucking show. Bianca Belair put on a show. Jade Cargill stole the show, in my opinion, personally. But ultimately, the right woman won it. The right woman punched her
Yes.
ticket to WrestleMania. And as Bayley, I don't think anybody in that match would have been more deserving than Bayley, if we're being honest. Bayley has spent this last 2 years really putting other people over, from Becky Lynch to Bianca Belair to also helping elevate Io Sky and Dakota Kai.
Yup.
Um, the weird part for me is that I know Bayley damn near doesn't want it damage control to last longer. I saw her say that in an interview WrestleMania season with Ariel Hawani. She said that she really wanted what it is now to add new members, adding in the Oscar, adding in a Kyrie saying she wanted damage control to grow. But sometimes when it's time for something to grow and you started it, you got to let it go to let it become even bigger than what it is right now. And ultimately, that's why part of me is like, do we want to break them up yet? You know what I'm saying? Do we want to? Like, I would love to see damage control, honestly, with all the gold. I would love to see that. But I don't think we're going to see that moment. I do
No.
think the seeds have already been planted for too long now for this tree to not sprout. That is going to be Io Sky versus Bayley, and the story that can be told, the people that can be brought in to this story, it's going to be very, very interesting because Bayley going up against Io and the Kabuki Warriors, she's gonna be outmatched. Now she's got some help coming in for sure. I'm almost certain that her and Naomi will be intertwined
Yup.
together, and Naomi will help her in this feud a little bit, possibly. But there's also the possibility of, I was thinking, Jade Cargill and Bianca Belair. You
Yup.
know, even though Bianca and Bayley have had all this beef, they could possibly come together to help take down damage control at WrestleMania. Um, a lot of interesting ways for them to play this. Now, like I said, there is still somewhat a chance. I wouldn't be completely opposed to her going after Rhea and beating Rhea somehow, and damage control just running the fucking thing. I would love to see that personally, but I don't think it happens. I think it's clear cut. We getting Io versus Bayley at WrestleMania. And like we talked about earlier, that match honestly should main event now. It should main event WrestleMania. But I can't wait to see just how this turn happens. I don't know if you guys peeped on Monday Night Raw this past Monday, how Bayley said, I'm gonna make my decision on SmackDown. She didn't say I'm gonna make my announcement. She said I'm gonna make my decision on SmackDown. And Io was looking like, decision. Did she, did she mean announcement? Did you know what I'm saying? Like, we know who you're going after. There's no decision to make. So I can't just wait to see how things go on SmackDown, and how the turn happens for Damage Control turning on Bayley. I'm really excited, man. But how you guys feeling about Bayley and this potential WrestleMania main event now between Bayley and Io Sky?
See, I love damage control. I love when they added Kyrie. Like, I love damage control. Me personally, I agree with Derek. I would have loved to seen it continue just a little bit further because I wanted to see like names like Cora Jade, like Cora Jade would just fit in damage control. I don't know how to explain it,
GG,
but
Dolan, maybe.
GG.
You know what I'm saying?
But unfortunately, all good things got to come to end. Um, so I love the direction that they're going in, though. We knew like the seeds were being planted for this to happen. We know that there's gonna be some turn. When it's gonna happen, I don't know. How it's gonna happen, I don't know. But I I believe fully. Let's have let's have damage control try to interfere in that match at Mania, and come March 3rd at Revolution, if I don't see a particular woman
Yep.
by the name of Mercedes,
Mhm.
if I don't see Miss Monet at AEW Revolution on March 3rd, I almost fully believe we will see her in some capacity at WrestleMania. And it would fit so well that in order for damage control to interfere with this match, we're gonna have some Mercedes Monet. Who knows? We might have that little interaction, and that would be fucking amazing. But man, that women's rumble, I just had to speak on it real quick. That shit was fire.
Yeah.
Shout out Trinity, shout out slash Naomi. Shout out TNA. By the way, shout out TNA, shout out WWE for making it happen. This is a beautiful time that we're living in. See, I'm not a fan of Jordan Grace. Like, just I I don't know. It's just something like I'm not a fan. I don't think I have to like every single thing about every single wrestler. I don't like Austin Theory, but I respect it. She could wrestle her ass off, and the Rumble proved it that there's stars everywhere. There's stars everywhere, and the boom that we're entering in 2024 is immaculate. Like I said last episode, like I've been saying, we definitely need the ladies to main event night one, especially now that CM Punk is likely not gonna be wrestling Seth Rollins. But Reed, what you got to say, bro?
Uh, I mean, there's nothing much to say, bro. My girl Bayley, I think she deserves the main event. I mean, I don't think she's main evented WrestleMania at all in her career, has she?
Nope.
No, nobody
She's come
really.
into WrestleMania with the title and left it. When the pandemic, she was the world champion coming in. The WWE SmackDown Women's Champion coming in, and of course she retained that title in that what was like a 6-pack challenge, I think it was, because I know Mercedes was in there, I know Naomi was in there, a couple other. So yeah, but she's never main evented, and I think she deserves it. And honestly,
But,
I agree with you, Les. I didn't really want to say too much about it because don't want to jinx it. And right now, it
oh
is
yeah,
like, let's see what happens at Revolution. The report is she'll be somewhere in March by March, and it won't be WWE. That was the latest report that I saw. But anything is possible, man. CM Punk coming back has shown it. So, and I also was saying I don't think that Mercedes would have come back at the Royal Rumble and took that spot from Bayley. You know what I'm saying? Because I think if Mercedes came back, Mercedes should have won, and then you still get the story right there. You still get the clear
yo,
breakup because now Sasha Banks is back or Mercedes, regardless. The history with Bayley is there. That's her best friend. Naomi's there as well. So like the pulling the turn could have still happened that way, but Mercedes definitely would have been taking that moment from Bayley, and I don't think Mercedes would do that. I think it would be much more dope if Mercedes it's still that numbers advantage going into WrestleMania, and WrestleMania she debuts. She's there to celebrate in the ring with Bayley when Bayley wins that matchup, man. That'll be fucking dope. That'll be dope
and
as hell.
and
So
and SummerSlam. Who's to say that they won't have a singles match at SummerSlam? Mercedes,
Bayley versus
Mercedes and Bailey.
that's the it's happened already, and we see what they can do together. So
Exact.
every
That's what
time,
I'm saying. And
every
and
time. So
I know. I'm just putting this out there because I love the four horsewoman. Hey, if Charlotte's back, we know that her and Becky has some sort of reconciliation over the past year, from personal issues that stem between them.
Ric
If they
Flair.
want to run that back, man, oh man, we eating good, bro.
think if you do a four horsewoman match, it should end in a draw. That's just me.
But it's the same way like Jimmy and Jay should end in a draw.
Yes, I
I'm
agree.
not opposed to it. I'm not
But
opposed to it. You know what
I
I'm
think
saying?
that's
Because
great.
it's tough to do that match and just like have one person win. I agree. That one
Yes,
in particular. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
It should never be a clear cut thing between those four women. Just being 100. They've contributed
they're
equally
equals
to
to
the
each other.
they're equals to each other. Now, personally, we all got our favorites, but for what they've done for the business,
Yeah.
for the level of an attraction that all four of them are, for how great for all four of them are, they are on, at least, especially at first, they were on a different level than everybody else by far, and they set the standard. And now you have women like Bianca, you have the Oscar coming in after her, Io Sky, who I'm a big fan of. She's personally my favorite women's wrestler that's in WWE right now. Um, at least
same
on the
night.
main roster. On the main roster, she's probably my favorite. Uh, but I do think if we get that match, what you laughing at, bro?
Yeah, I'm confused.
Yeah. Your favorite women's wrestler on the main roster, because we know if we're talking about all of WWE, we
If we
know who
talk
your
about
favorite is.
wrestling, if we talk about wrestling, I like Roxanne as a wrestler more than her right now. She's still she's still getting
Yeah,
getting getting
yeah.
getting her stuff together,
Roxanne.
man. I'm saying I like Roxanne as a wrestler more than I like Lola Vice. You know what I'm saying? I like Lola Vice by Loretta. I love her. You feel me? But as a wrestler and the in ring ability, I like Roxanne more. Roxanne is one of my favorites right now as well. You know what I'm saying? I really like her in
Mm.
ring work. I think she's really fucking dope. Tiffany, I like her in ring work a lot too. You know what I'm saying? Lola, I can tell. Hey, that
We
was
start
funny
talking
as
about
hell.
he got flustered.
Hey, that's funny as hell, bro.
bro,
All right, man. I'm
bro
blaming.
dropped his
I'm
whole
blaming. I'm
webcam.
blaming this man. I'm blaming this motherfucker Les for always laughing for no reason, bro. I wasn't even thinking about Lola Vice at the moment. You just had to bring her up. You know what I'm saying? You just had to bring her up. It's cool.
I had to.
There we go. We good now. All right, now we good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I had to switch the camera back to the damn webcam camera, but I think that if we do get that match, it'd be really dope. But like I said, it's a lot of ways that you could play this. Like we said, it's a lot of ways that we could play this. We could do, if we somehow can get Mercedes and Naomi, if they feel like Jade is ready to at least do tag team matches, because that's the thing, you can protect her in tag team matches. You can allow her to still gain that experience in the PC while working with someone like a Bianca Belair. I think that
Yeah.
allows her
Yeah,
to,
buddy.
you know what I'm saying, not expose herself as far as being somewhat green still. But she's, even if she's a
Hmm.
little green in the ring, she green if you know what I mean. Cause she is money. Jade Cargill is money. So I think if you got her at WrestleMania with Bianca Belair versus the Kabuki Warriors versus Isla, Fire and Ice versus Katana and Caden, like that's a fucking banger right there. That's a banger right there.
I thought I thought Jade showing in the Rumble was actually pretty good.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. To
She
me,
she
like she was
I
the
think she's
highlight of
definitely
that rumble.
flourishing under the yo. I think she's definitely flourishing under the PC and
You
just
can
that
tell
that
she's
WWE
improving.
system.
She knew how to work the crowd
Yup.
better than she had in
Yup.
AEW. You know, she's learning certain nuances of being a professional wrestler, especially on TV, because it's a different game. You gotta learn that TV game, which is what a lot of guys in AEW are slowly learning. Because most they sign a lot of indie guys that's never been on the big networks, and things work a little different. And especially in WWE, she's learning that WWE style, the subtle nuances that are showing her star power already. That's why I'm like, you can't
Yup.
go wrong with having her at WrestleMania. If you do though, I do think the best thing for her to do at WrestleMania would be to, because I think it's hard to like have her debut at the Royal Rumble and just have her disappear again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Like she doesn't have to be there every
Definitely that
week,
tag
but
match.
I think sooner than later you kind of gotta put her on a show. whether it's NXT. I'm not opposed to that still. I think she could definitely value from just a couple months in NXT, even if it's just going to be a couple months. Um, she would definitely value from teaming with someone like Bianca Belair as well, though, to introduce her to the main roster. And it's always that, it's a lot of ways you could do it. You can have her debut and then Damage Control attacks her. You know what I'm saying? And then Bianca comes
Mm.
for the save. And it's still that clear tension between the two, but now we got to work together to take them out. And it's that tension between Bayley and Bianca, but we got to help you to take them out. You know what I'm saying? So it's a nice story that they could tell, even if they can't get Mercedes. Even if they can't get Mercedes, which to me, I think having Mercedes and Naomi as the two anchoring Bayley in that feud would be amazing. It'd be a perfect story. But I think you can but the star power with Jade and Bianca, that'd be another amazing story to tell, man. But let's segue really, really quickly and get serious. We're not gonna talk about this too long because this is it's still a developing topic, if we're being honest. It's still
Yeah.
developing. Um, but the developments that occurred last week were outrageous to say the least, man. It's been crazy, but we are at the day and time where officially no McMahon is on the board of directors for the WWE, and we have never seen this
Has
day before.
anything to do?
Anything to do with it, honestly. You know what I'm saying? Okay, we got the proxy in Triple H. He's a proxy of Stephanie of sorts. But I do think that Triple H is not really like asking Steph. He may ask her opinion. What you think about this? Just because they both know the business very well. Steph grew up in the business. So I'm not surprised if he gets her opinion. But Triple H has always had that love for the business where I think he trusts his gut more than he trusts anybody else, to be honest, right now. I think that the praise that he's been getting is well deserved, and he hears it. He knows like, okay, I'm doing the right thing. So more allegations. Let's stop beating around the bush. More allegations have come to Vince McMahon. Sexual assault allegations against him and by proxy the WWE because there are workers that are also in this lawsuit, like John Laurinaitis. There is the obvious undertone of who said ex UFC star is Brock Lesnar being brought up in these allegations. Um, I know I read some of the text messages that he apparently sent this young woman. Um, and just the things that she said that Vince McMahon did, man, it is so sick. But the most unfortunate part about it to me, well, not I won't say the most unfortunate part because I don't want to at any way diminish what she's going through. I think that's the most disturbing part is everything that she has to deal with post this and everything that she's dealt with during this time frame when he was sexually assaulting her and pimping her out of sorts. You know what I'm saying? But a very disturbing part of this is that for many in the wrestling community, this doesn't surprise us. This doesn't surprise us at all. I don't think any of us were surprised when we saw. Okay, we heard about this initially because this is essentially stemming from the same situation which Vince had to step down from before. But now things are coming out, and TKO had to get him the fuck off the board as soon as possible. And great decision from them. I also believe they need to clean house with anybody that is a Vince guy. They got to go. All the people that he brought back with him when he did his hostile takeover and said, I'm not going to allow you guys to sell unless I'm back on the board. All those guys and gals need to go. They all need to leave. I'm it like I said, ultimately the mind that we've seen Vince to have, the things that he's done, the storylines that he's done, none of this surprises us. And that is one of the most messed up parts about it is that besides the fact that we also know this isn't the first time. This isn't the things Vince was doing, pooping on people. This, hey, 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 it is not. even funny, but it's like, bro,
It's
like
not funny, but why would you
how
say
sick
it?
can you be? How sick can you be to poop on somebody, bro, and get
No, it's not
aroused
even.
by that?
It,
You know what I'm
Listen,
saying? Like,
I
bro.
agree. I agree.
That allegation with the, I'll just say defecating. I won't even say poop, bro. I won't even sugarcoat it. Defecated. He defecated all over this poor woman, and then told her to go perform in front of the people that was involved in the encounters
and told her to
and
keep going while I go clean my
the
butt.
assaults.
What?
That was, why'd you have to say it like that? Because it's nasty at that.
It's nasty, bro. Like, I'm
I'm not
just
trying to make light of the situation,
at all, at all.
but the way you said that, I'm sorry.
It was. I did say that, but
Yeah, I understand.
that's how ridiculous it is, though. To me, you know what I'm saying? Like the
It's like
things that he was doing just was utterly ridiculous. Like the man's mind is just so deranged. Like it's ridiculous that he was doing these things. He was telling other people that he was doing these things to this woman,
yes,
and nobody reported this. Nobody was like,
He
"Hey,
was he
Vince
was
is out
showing.
here. Vince is out here defecating on people. Like we gotta get
Mm,
this man out of here." Like nobody saw a problem with the things he was doing. It was just it's so ridiculous. A guy like Brock Lesnar, who's got a wife, you know what I'm saying, is somewhat taking
kid,
part in this. He's
kids,
taking part in it.
kids,
A daughter,
kids.
a daughter.
he
He's
has
got a
2 sons.
daughter, and he's also taking part in this. John Laurinaitis, I believe, is no
Is married
longer
to
with.
the Bellas.
I think they
I
got
think he's
divorced
still.
though. I think he got divorced. Apparently, that's what I saw
No, I don't
earlier.
think so.
That's what I saw earlier. His wife, their mother has brain cancer, and then they got divorced. That's what
Who
I
has
was
brain cancer?
told. The
The
Bella's mother.
Bellas.
That's what I saw earlier
Really?
because they released a statement last night
Yeah,
condemning
yeah. I seen
Vince
that.
McMahon, which little
Yeah.
late for that. You should have did that like a week or two ago. But also, why didn't you say John Laurinaitis' name when he is part of? You said just people that are a part of it instead of saying his name. I found that weird, especially knowing his
Mm.
relationship with her mother. But I saw people commenting and saying that he wasn't with her mother anymore. Don't quote me on that. I don't know for
I
sure.
don't know.
I didn't even do research on it. Not gonna lie, as a journalist, I'm gonna tell y'all I didn't do any research on it. I'm just saying what I saw. And so if that's true, you know what I'm saying? That is what it is. But regardless, like the people involved in the situation had families, had
Yeah.
Sure.
kids, had
Mhm.
daughters, and they still partook in this situation. They still were laughing at videos apparently that Vince showed. Like this
That's
whole
so
situation.
to me. That is
Yeah.
so wild.
I thought it was crazy that, see, it makes sense when you look at it in retrospect, like all the people that were involved, and then let's take a look at Brock, for
Mhm.
example. So the allegation was that Brock was leaving WWE, and Vince wanted him to resign. He was going to give him more money, and he needed to do something. So what he did was he asked the woman, I believe her name is Janelle Grant, to send personalized videos and basically set up sexual encounters with Brock Lesnar in order to entice him to stay with the WWE, to re-sign with the WWE, because Brock Lesnar was gonna retire, I believe, at around that point. He was planning on retiring,
Around the
or
pan-
at least just, yeah, around the pandemic time, or at least just leaving WWE. And obviously, based on what we know so far, no encounters took place. But I still blame Brock Lesnar based on the allegations. I still believe you could point fingers at Brock Lesnar for knowing what was going on with Janelle Grant and Vince McMahon. Um, and it's just nasty. It's just nasty, bro.
It was even
So
worse at the conference.
Ah, man. I
They
see.
asked
I
Cody out
understand.
of all people. They asked Cody out of all people, and he's
Yeah,
like
but
everybody
Cody
else.
had Cody had a better response to it than I believe Triple H did.
of course,
I feel like the way that Triple H handled it by saying he Triple H had basically said, let's focus on the positives of the Royal Rumble. Let's focus less on the negatives. He
I
said, look
agree.
at look at all our accomplishments. He said, "Look what we've done. I don't want to focus on the negatives." And he said, "I think the first thing I think what was wrong is that he said he didn't read. He didn't read into the allegations. He didn't read the lawsuits.
That's his father-in-law. Of course you did.
That, of course, he did. We know you did. I feel like if he had just owned up and maybe had said something like, you know, we're further investigating it. We can't comment on. I would much rather that than for you to sit there and say, look at what we accomplished. I didn't even read the lawsuits. I didn't read this. We know you did. And it's the same thing I got on Tony Khan for. Tony
Mhm.
Khan responding absolutely stupid. I felt like the way that they both handled it was dumb. But Tony Khan's the owner of the company, and
Yeah.
Triple H is the head of creative, so I understand. It's just it's very weird. Both
Yeah,
weird
that's what I'm
situations.
like. I was, yeah. I think both of them mishandled it, and they could have handled it way better than they decided to handle it. But I do think that I completely understand what Triple H was trying to say. But even with trying to say, let's focus on the positives, um, he could have said, let's not make tonight about Vince and take away from the men and women and what they did tonight.
Yeah.
That would have been a
Yeah.
little more effective for me than
S-
like, let's just focus on the positives and all the good things that's going on. Because yes, we do want to focus on those things, but at the end of the day, you knew that question was coming. They got to ask
Yo,
you, especially not only, you gained this position because of this lawsuit. Let's be honest. Vince was not going to hand you the key to the castle yet. He kind of had to
no.
be forced to do that. Now I also do think that Triple H maybe knows. I still kind of think that Triple H and Stephanie might have knew about things and helped escalate things to get Triple H to get Vince up out of there. Which is why when
Of
Vince
course.
came back, Stephanie left. I kind of still do think that they got wind of it and they was like, hey, we might as well leak this. I think that's still a possibility. Now, I don't know. It's tough because, of course, especially Steph, like you don't even want to believe that about your dad. You know what I'm saying? Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
want to believe that your dad was doing all of these sick things, even if you knew that he was. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a
But I
big
feel like
thing with
I
His
feel like
character
going
was him in real life.
going back, yeah, I was just about to say that. Going back to like the early storylines, um early 2000s, when I would say even before general manager Stephanie, the
mm,
shit that Vince had Stephanie do, your own daughter. Like
Yeah.
you had the scenario where he was kissing Stephanie, like making out with Stephanie. You had the scenario where Stephanie cut that promo backstage where she basically said that she sold her body to other men. Even if it was a storyline, that's just weird. How you get your seven? She said when I was 17, and I gave my body to these people, and this is live TV. And
yeah.
when we're looking at it from now, we're like, that's just weird. But back then, we probably thought it was like a storyline. We thought it was just, oh, okay, they're playing characters. But
Of
now
course,
all
we're
this stuff
supposed to
is
hate
coming out.
Vince.
But now we're starting to realize that Vince has like almost fully or even crossed that threshold of blending real life with pro wrestling. The person that he was in wrestling is the person that he truly is. Maybe even like 100 times worse.
Yeah.
And even if he wasn't that person, and one thing that I did want to discuss too that may have made, and again, it's far from an excuse. There's also the clear one of those clear signs that Vince should have gotten help a long time ago. Vince doesn't strike me as a guy who ever went to therapy. And apparently, as a kid, he was sexually abused.
Yeah, yeah, I
There
saw
was an
that.
insinuation about him being sexually abused by his mother as well as other teenagers in
Mm-hmm.
his trailer park that he grew up in.
Yeah.
And knowing those things about Vince and just knowing, I just feel like apparently he was physically abused by his stepfather as well. Um, Vince McMahon should have gotten some help.
Yeah.
And the fact that Vince McMahon never got help, and this is a statement for everybody. You know what I'm saying? Oftentimes, hurt people,
I was just about to
literally.
say that shit.
So it's like
I was waiting for you,
people
bro.
that have been through
Yeah.
what Vince went through as a kid is fucking terrible. But a lot of times, those are the people that turn around and do those same things to other people. And that's what seems like happened with Vince. The abuse that he went through as a child, and I'm not saying he was defecating on people, and of course there wasn't phones, cellular phones, at least for him to be sharing, people be sharing those videos of him getting sexually assaulted as a child. Those videos weren't there. So it's a lot different than what he went through. But the fact that he went through something similar to this as a child and decided once he became a man of power to in turn do this to someone else is just messed up. But it just also shows that we got to get people help. When we see these signs, when we see signs of someone like Vince uh kind of fantasizing about those type of situations with him and his daughter and writing that into the storyline, he needed help at that point in time. It also goes back to, and I'm not gonna dive too much into it, but I think that everyone around Chris Benoit peeped that Chris Benoit needed help when Eddie Guerrero
Well,
passed, and they didn't
Bravo,
get him the help.
bravo.
They didn't get him the help that he needed. And it seemed like Vince has needed help for a long time, and nobody got him the help that he needed. So maybe even this is a situation where now WWE can, like, I ain't saying force people to go to therapy because you can't, but like it's got to be some type of checks and balances in that company. I feel like being a major company like that too, you know, they got like a human resources department, but I feel like that relationship between the human resources department and the workers just needs to be more tight knit. There
nah,
needs to be.
I don't. Oh
Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, um, fuck human resources. I don't believe human resources could do shit in terms of they could help keep the workplace just a little bit more safer, but I I think a place like WWE or any place for that matter, even like us as artists, I feel like having mental health experts,
Yeah,
because just maybe having a division, just or just like a specialist, somebody, a therapist, somebody that could speak to these people, especially wrestlers that go through so much trauma, maybe not only in just like a childhood. You don't need childhood
yeah.
trauma, it could be adult
They're
trauma.
on the road all the time without their family.
That
It's
you
perfectly
need
fine for like once a month. I think they all should be required once a month, maybe every 2 to 3 months. They should be required to like talk to somebody and
just
And
and see
think
what is going on in their minds.
I
yeah,
do think a lot of it, like with superstars, like I feel like some of it should be kept under wraps if it could,
of
even
course.
if the person doesn't want to keep it open, because I feel like the company a lot of times is like they see somebody like a like a mid Carter who's about ready to be basically a main eventer, and they see them having see they openly know they're going to like mental health facilities and they're going to the resources that are given. I think at that point in time, if the company sees that, then they can maybe make it the assumption like, oh, they're not ready. You know what I mean? It
Of
also
course.
makes a
That's
career at
true.
the same point. It could.
But um
Definitely.
but
That's
see,
why a lot of
I
people
would,
don't get it when they need
That's
it.
why I think it should be a requirement for everybody.
yeah,
And
that's the
it's
thing.
not like, oh, you got to go every week. You really like if there are a case where you find somebody that, hey, this person really going through a lot, I think they could use more sessions with us if they are willing to. Because at the end of the day, with the therapy, you got to be willing to. But I do think that you could do,
It should
like you
be
said, just even if it's something more subtle, where there is that more mental health experts where they're like, hey, we've been peeping this guy, been acting a little weird. Just would you be willing to have a conversation with them? If it's nothing, it's nothing. Because sometimes it's nothing. Sometimes people just don't want to be bothered. Sometimes it's just something minor. But sometimes there is something deeper there. And a guy like Vince, I think the people around him could have saw like Vince not all the way there. Even if he wasn't showing them this stuff, I think people around Vince always knew like, he's kind of crazy. He's kind of
mm.
fucking crazy.
He's not
And
behind the
not
curtain.
in a
And
he's insane. He's insane.
Yes.
something like the mental health specialist or just therapy, I feel like it would go a long way just in any company that it's in. Even people that work at, I don't know, people that work at a Walmart. all these places, Amazon, you need something like
Oh, they
that
go through a lot, boy.
in order.
They go through a
But see,
lot.
see,
Yeah.
I used to. I'm not gonna hold you. I used to work at Amazon. Amazon had their own therapy, but it's stuff like that I feel like will help keep people sane enough to coexist with other people. I feel like let's have a therapist that can also act as a mediator for issues that may occur between other wrestlers and management, because let's say you go to your boss. Let's say I go to Triple H. I'm a wrestler. I go to Triple H and I'm like, yeah, like I didn't like how you said this, and Triple H tells me to go fuck myself, basically. And I get really badly depressed because Triple H just told me to go fuck myself. If I
Yeah.
have a therapist that's there to
You're never
mediate
finishing
the
the story,
situation,
Cody.
you're never finishing the story. You have a therapist to go talk to that could not only mediate the situation between you and Triple H or you and that other person, but help you out internally. And I feel like mentally that would go a long way.
You got
Yeah.
Therapy
anything
is
to wrap us up, Reed?
therapy is not for the weak-minded, for people who think that. It's
Hmm.
actually the exact opposite. It's for the
Yes.
people who know they need help
Yup.
Yeah.
and they're strong about within their own realm of emotions to go and get help. So I've always, that's been misconstrued in my thought
I
process for
agree.
a lot of people who say it's for people who are weak. I think you're super strong if you can be vulnerable in a space to where you have to just let everything out at points in time. So
Especially with
yeah,
people that you don't know.
Hmm.
yeah, that's why I always live by don't be mean to anybody you don't know, or don't talk bad about anybody you don't know, because you don't know what they're going through. Get to know them first before you make assumptions. That's just
Yeah.
human nature at any point. So
I
a
agree.
lot of this, yeah, I agree with you guys, especially the hurt people. That is very, it's very telling in these times, unfortunately. But
Very,
kind
very unfortunately. But we have seen that already there are some changes in WWE since
yeah,
Vince was first ousted. Um, since Triple H took over creative, there seems to be a more positive work environment. And you hear guys that was there 10 years ago, Cody Rhodes, saying the environment is completely different. I've never seen the locker room this united. I've never been in a locker room this united where
Hmm.
everybody seems to gel pretty well. There's no beefs between guys. There's no guys trying to snake you out of your position on the card. Um, which was a big thing in the 90s, especially in the early 2000s. A lot of
doggy.
politics, a lot of politics. So things have been changing from that perspective, but also now we are it's a new day. Yes, it is. No McMahon is on the board of directors. No McMahon really has anything to do with WWE in any capacity right now. This is an unforeseen day, but it also shows that things are changing, and hopefully some of these changes, therapy ain't gonna fix everything. If they do, mental health experts isn't gonna fix everything, but it does seem like WWE is changing for the better, and that's
Yeah,
that's that's the good thing about these things coming out about Vince, and us understanding why Vince never needs to have anything to do with this company again. Why his yes men need to never have anything to do with the wrestling business again, because they're all sickos, they're all weirdos, man. But like I just said, it seems like WWE is changing for the better. They are on the path to becoming a better company. And the product has been the best that it's been in years. I think all of us agree on that. Um, but that's all the time we gonna give Vince, because that's all the time that we got right now. Hopefully, uh, we don't have to say anything about Vince until more developments come out, because we are gonna keep you guys updated on this as of more things in this lawsuit come out. Once this goes to trial, we'll keep you guys updated. But nonetheless, like Triple H said, we are looking forward to the positive things going on here in WWE, in the wrestling world, as we are approaching WrestleMania season. The most exciting season of wrestling. This is what we've all been waiting for the last year. Let's be honest, especially after Cody Rhodes lost, we all been waiting to get back on this road. Very unfortunate that we have to even discuss Vince McMahon at this point in time. But
Yeah.
nonetheless, it's the Art of Squabble podcast, and we ain't ducking no fades. All right. So once again, man, I appreciate y'all tapping in with us. It's your boy Lil Derek. I got Reed with me. Oh, he's over here. Reed, I got Les. Yeah, I had to do that. I had to do that
Yeah,
backwards. And there we go, man.
yeah.
Peace out, y'all. Drop a like, comment, subscribe. You know the vibes, man. We'll see y'all later.
Yes, sir.
Peace.
Peace.